Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue. I'm the black powder editor for Guns of the Old West magazine, and today we're going to be shooting one of the most powerful revolvers ever made, Colt Walker. Now, this is a replica. It's made by Uberti in Italy, and it's imported by Taylor's & Company in Virginia, and we're going to take a look at it. Well, I've already got a video out on the channel that covers the history of the Walker revolver and its evolution. So I'm not going to take you over all of that ground again here today. You can go back and find that video and watch it, and I hope you like it. The reason I've got this is because my earlier Walker, which I'll show you right here, and the one you'd see in the other video, is an Army San Marcos made gun, and Army San Marcos has been out of business now for, I would say, a good 10 years. And this gun is showing some wear, still shoots pretty well. But I decided I wanted to have a pair of them, and that meant going with a new Uberti. So, placed an order with Taylor's & Company, and here it is. And it's a beautiful gun. Very nice. Color case hardening is actually pretty decent. Ubertis quite often are washed out. This has a lot of dark blue in it. It's probably not quite as good as the color case hardening on my old Army San Marcos, which always had wonderful color case hardening, but quite good. It's got a nice tight lockup, and it's just massive. And this will be my first time shooting it, so you'll get to experience that right along with me. So let's go through the loading procedure, and then we'll put it on the target and see what it does. Well, today we're going to be loading with round balls and 3FG GoX powder. Now, the original load for this gun with a round ball was 60 grains of powder. Now, it was 60 grains of musket powder, but that's still a wicked powder charge. I find that when you load them with that much powder, you really start to batter the wedge from the force of that bullet going into the forcing cone. Just kind of pounds that barrel up against the wedge until it knocks it out of shape, and you end up with kind of a loose gun. So I'm going to load with 40 grains of powder today, and that's still going to give us lots of fun. So I've got my powder measure set for 40 grains, and I'll pour a charge in. And we'll just pour that right into a chamber. As you can see, we're going to have plenty of room in there. Okay, now I'm going to take a felt wad that has been soaked in black powder lube. And if you want to know how to do these, as you might have guessed, there's already a video out on the channel showing how I make them. You can also buy them, of course. And then I'm going to top that with a 44 caliber ball. I use 4.54 inch diameter balls, and then we're going to seat it. There we go. Now I'm going to show you something. These things tend to drop their loading levers under recoil, and if we can get close enough, I filed a flat spot right at the top of this bump, and that makes it hold the rod, the rammer, much more securely. We'll see if it's enough to keep it in place. I'm hoping. Anyway, we're going to do this 4 more times and leave one chamber empty for safety. I take a lot of flack from some folks for doing that. And what they would have done in the 19th century, and this gun does not have any. Oh, there's got one. There's a little pin. There's a little pin right here on the back of the space between the chambers. And what we would do is we would rotate that up to this position and drop the hammer on it, and there's a notch in the hammer face, and that would hold it securely, so they could load all 6. But to be honest with you, I'm not fighting with these things. So 5 is good enough for me, because there's nothing safer than having it down on a completely empty chamber. But if you want to load 6, that's the procedure for it. So I'm going to get this loaded up and then we can cap it. We've got 5 chambers loaded and we're going to cap it. I use this Ted Cash snail capper. Just kind of give it a shake to bring a cap out to the mouth. Oops. Works better if you don't have to look through the viewfinder to do it. So we'll just put a cap on. And it's actually pretty easy. Trying to do things when you're actually looking at the camera viewfinder instead of at the piece that you're working with just adds a level of complexity. And one more and we are good to go. Okay, now for me, the last step in the procedure is to take a wooden dowel and I just give each of those caps a push to make sure they are on good and snug. And we're using Remington number 10s. Okay, we are ready to shoot. Well, we've got the Walker and we've got Evil Roy set up 12 yards downrange. And lately I've had a few guys questioning the integrity of the distances I'm quoting. So I generally lay out my ranges using a 100-foot tape measure, but that doesn't make for a good demonstration. So let's take a walk. Remember, I said that's 12 yards downrange. Alright, so that was 14 of my paces to get there. So I'm not trying to cheat you on distance. So let's take that Walker and let's go shoot him. Alright, shooting a little bit high, which is what we expect with these. I actually even missed Evil Roy once, something like that. Well, now that I own 2 Walkers, I just gotta do a Josie Wales. Well, that didn't work out perfectly. I had a cap come off of one of the chambers on the Army San Marcos under recoil, so I'm going to cap it up and shoot it out right now. Well, as I'm sure you noticed, that little modification I did was not a complete cure for the loading lever dropping, but actually it's a lot better than I usually find on walkers, so I'm pretty pleased with it. It comes down a bit, but not every time at least, and I gotta say, these things are fun to shoot. Not easy to shoot, but fun.